All right, let's dive in, shall we? Today it's demonology, specifically Belphegor, a demon with, well, a pretty wild reputation.
Oh, Belphegor is a fascinating one, a real study in contradictions.
Yeah.
Invoked for wealth and fame, but at the same time, he's the embodiment of sloth. Like, wanting to win the lottery, but never wanting to get off the couch.
That's quite a paradox, isn't it? So to unpack all this, we're going to be using this article on mythology.net. And it talks about some really wild stuff, Belphegor's apparent love for Paris, shape-shifting abilities, and even a story about Satan sending him to Earth to investigate, of all things, marital love. Where do we even begin with a demon like this?
Well, I think we start with the basics, right?
Yeah.
His name, it's pronounced Belphegor, and he originates from ancient Assyria. But it's his name, meaning master of the opening, that really gets interesting. He kind of hints at his ability to find and exploit weaknesses, like those little cracks in our willpower.
Oh, I see. It's giving sneaky salesman vibes, but on a demonic level.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more intriguing. Because despite those ancient Assyrian roots, Belphegor, he has this strong association with France, specifically Paris. Not exactly what you'd expect from a demon with such a long history, is it?
It does feel a little out of place, doesn't it? Like finding out your favorite metal band secretly loves baguettes and berets.
Precisely. And speaking of unexpected twists, Belphegor's journey from ancient deity to prince of hell, well, it's quite a story. He starts as Baal Peor, this god worshipped by the Moabites, mentioned even in the Bible, but over time undergoes a transformation, becomes a fallen angel, a demonic counterpart to one of the 10 Sephiroth.
Hold on, fallen angels. Okay, I get that. But Sephiroth, could you break that down a little bit for me?
Sure. Think of them as emanations of God, in Jewish mysticism specifically. So imagine a really powerful angel cast out and transformed into, well, a demonic reflection of divine power. That's Belphegor's story in a nutshell. It really speaks to his duality, that shift from a figure of worship to one of fear and temptation.
Okay, so from a worshipped god to a fallen angel, mirroring divine power, but on the dark side. That's quite the resume.
It certainly is. And the Bible even tells a story about the Israelites making sacrifices to Belphegor, much to Moses' dismay, of course. And let's just say things didn't end well for those involved. But remember, we're just exploring these stories, not endorsing any particular actions or beliefs.
Right, of course, of course. It's about understanding the lore, not condoning anything. But back to Belphegor and his, talents. He's known for being a master shapeshifter, which I imagine is pretty handy for a demon. What's the significance of that?
Well, his shapeshifting, it adds another layer to his deceptiveness. Imagine him appearing as, say, a beautiful naked woman, playing on desire and temptation. But then he's also known to take the form of a terrifying, monstrous demon invoking fear and dread.
Talk about mixed signals, right? Seems like he's playing both ends of the spectrum there, exploiting our desires and our fears.
Exactly. He embodies those extremes. And then there's this whole story about his mission on Earth to investigate whether marital love is actually real.
Wait, seriously. Satan sent the demon of lust and seduction to evaluate love. What was he thinking?
It does seem ironic, doesn't it? Was Satan being genuine, or was there some more manipulative motive at play? Was he, mocking humanity, testing Belphegor? Maybe both.
Definitely adds a layer of complexity to his story, doesn't it? It's like, hey, Belphegor, go infiltrate those happy couples and report back. But I have to wonder, what would actually possess someone to invoke a demon with, this kind of track record?
You'd be surprised. Even today, people call upon Belphegor, hoping he'll grant them fame and fortune, especially through inventions. They want the rewards without the effort, and that's where the danger lies.
So it's like the ultimate get-rich-quick scheme, but with a demonic twist.
Precisely. Belphegor, he might grant their wishes, but there's always a catch. Often, he leads them down this path of failure and procrastination, traps them in that cycle of sloth, gives them what they think they want, but ensures they never truly achieve it.
So it's like he's giving them just enough to keep them hooked, but all the while preventing them from reaching their full potential.
That's a great way to put it. It really highlights that allure of easy success and the often hidden costs that come with it. Belphegor, he's a stark reminder that shortcuts rarely lead to genuine fulfillment.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination, and that true success, it often requires effort and perseverance. Okay, before we dive into Belphegor's rivals, I need a minute to process all of this. We've gone from ancient gods and fallen angels to biblical plagues, shape-shielding demons, missions from Satan, and now demonic get-rich-quick schemes.
It is quite a bit to unpack, isn't it? But that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating, wouldn't you say? We're peeling back layers of history, mythology, and even human psychology, uncovering these intricate connections between the past and the present.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like we're assembling a puzzle, one fascinating and slightly terrifying piece at a time.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that Belphegor has some adversaries. Who are these rivals, and what role do they play in his story?
Well, first you have his adversarial relationship with the sixth Sephiroth, the patron angel of beauty. This clash, it's interesting because Belphegor, remember, he's the patron demon of dispute. It suggests this conflict between beauty, which is often so subjective and personal, and that desire to impose order or control, which Belphegor represents.
So it's like Belphegor's trying to disrupt our appreciation of beauty by stirring up conflict and doubt, reminding us that, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
It's certainly a valid interpretation. And then there's his opposition to Mary Magdalene, a patron saint of France. It seems Belphegor's fondness for Paris isn't shared by all of its spiritual guardians.
Ah, so maybe his attraction to France isn't just about the city itself,
Yeah.
but also about this underlying tension between his presence and the forces of good that are associated with the country.
Precisely. It adds another layer of complexity to his relationship with France,
Yeah.
and suggests this deeper struggle between light and darkness, good and evil, playing out on a much larger scale.
Welcome back. Last time we were talking about Belphegor's rivalry with some pretty heavy hitters in the celestial realm. But before we go any further, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about his connection to Paris. It's not every day you hear about an ancient Assyrian demon setting up shop in the City of Lights. Why Paris, of all places?
It's a question that has, well, puzzled scholars and demonologists for centuries, really. No definitive answer, of course. But we can speculate based on what we know about both Belphegor and the history of Paris itself.
Okay, let's speculate. What are some of the theories floating around out there?
Well, one theory connects Belphegor to the idea of Paris as, this center of temptation and indulgence. Think of the city's reputation, right? Fashion, art, and, well, let's just say pleasure. It's not hard to see how a demon associated with exploiting weaknesses might be drawn to a place like that.
So it's like Paris is this giant buffet of temptation, and Belphegor is the ultimate gourmand.
That's one way to put it. Another theory suggests that Belphegor's presence in Paris is tied to the city's rich history of religious and occult practices. I mean, Paris has been a melting pot of beliefs for centuries, with influences from Christianity, paganism, various esoteric traditions. This blend of spiritual energies might have created this environment where a demon like Belphegor could, well, thrive.
It's almost like Paris is this spiritual crossroads, a place where different energies kind of converge and sometimes clash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could definitely explain why Belphegor might be drawn to it.
Exactly. And let's not forget the symbolism of Paris as the city of light, right? Perhaps Belphegor, associated with darkness and temptation, is drawn to the light as a way to corrupt it, to twist it to his own, purposes.
That's a chilling thought. It's like he sees Paris as a challenge, this beacon of light that he wants to extinguish or at least dim. It adds another layer to his rivalry with Mary Magdalene, who, as a patron saint of France, represents, the forces of light and goodness that are associated with the country.
You're catching on quickly. These seemingly simple details in demonology, they often have these deeper layers of meaning and symbolism. It's about connecting the dots, looking for patterns, and considering the broader context.
And sometimes it's about, embracing the mystery. Speaking of mysteries, let's rewind back to Belphegor's mission from Satan to investigate marital love. I'm still grappling with the irony of that. Why would the demon of lust and seduction be tasked with, well, such a seemingly pure and wholesome mission?
It's one of the most intriguing aspects of Belphegor's lore, isn't it? On the surface, it seems contradictory. But what if we approach it from a different angle? What if Satan, being the master manipulator that he is, knew exactly what he was doing?
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are you getting at?
Think about it. Who better to understand the intricacies of love than someone who, well, specializes in exploiting desire and temptation.
It's like sending a hacker to evaluate cybersecurity. They know the vulnerabilities because, well, they exploit them.
Precisely. Satan might have sent Belphegor to Earth not to destroy love, but to analyze it, to identify its weaknesses, and maybe, just maybe, to find ways.
That's a brilliant insight. It totally reframes the entire mission, doesn't it? Belphegor wasn't sent to celebrate love, but to weaponize it, to turn it into another tool for temptation and manipulation.
Exactly. It's a classic example of how demonic forces often operate. They don't always seek to just destroy outright. Sometimes they prefer to subvert, to twist something good into something, well, something harmful.
So instead of viewing Belphegor's mission as, some kind of joke, we should see it as a calculated move by Satan, a way to gain a deeper understanding of love in order to, exploit it more effectively.
Precisely. And it speaks to the cunning and strategic nature of demonic forces. They're not just mindless agents of chaos. They're intelligent, adaptable, and often operate with a level of subtlety that can be, well, difficult to detect.
This conversation has definitely added a new layer of depth to Belphegor's story, but I have to wonder, what did Belphegor actually discover about love during his time on Earth?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Did he find evidence of, true, lasting love, the kind that challenged his own cynical worldview? Or did he simply confirm his suspicions that human connection is ultimately fleeting and superficial?
And how did that discovery, whatever it may have been, shape his understanding of humanity and his own role in the grand scheme of things?
It's fascinating to consider the possibilities. Perhaps he found love to be a more powerful force than he initially anticipated, a force that even a demon like himself couldn't fully comprehend or control. Or maybe, just maybe, he witnessed the fragility of human relationships, the ease with which they can be broken by, betrayal, jealousy, or simply the passage of time.
It's almost like Belphegor was conducting a sociological experiment, observing human behavior and drawing his own conclusions about the nature of love.
Exactly. And those conclusions, whatever they may have been, they likely shaped his approach to temptation and manipulation going forward. Perhaps he learned to use love as a weapon, to exploit its vulnerabilities and turn it against those who sought it. Or maybe he gained a grudging respect for the power of love, recognizing its potential to both uplift and destroy.
This is all so thought-provoking. It's making me reevaluate everything I thought I knew about Belphegor. He's not just this one-dimensional demon of sloth and temptation. There's this depth and complexity to his character that's both fascinating and unsettling.
You're absolutely right, and that's what makes these deep dives so rewarding. We're peeling back layers, uncovering hidden meanings, and discovering connections that might have otherwise gone unnoticed.
Now, you mentioned earlier that Belphegor is often invoked by those seeking fame and fortune, especially through inventions. Can you elaborate on that a bit? What's the connection between this demon and the world of innovation?
It's an interesting connection, and one that speaks to Belphegor's duality, really. On the one hand, he's associated with laziness and procrastination, the antithesis of creativity and hard work. But on the other hand, he represents that desire for quick rewards, the allure of easy success.
So it's like he's tapping into that part of us that wants to achieve great things, but without putting in the effort.
Exactly. And for inventors, that temptation can be particularly strong. I mean, they often have these grand visions, these groundbreaking ideas that they believe will change the world. But the process of bringing those ideas to life, well, it can be long, arduous, and fraught with setbacks.
So they turn to Belphegor, hoping he'll provide a shortcut, a way to bypass the struggle and achieve instant success.
Precisely. They're essentially making a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Right. Trading their work ethic and perseverance for the promise of quick result. And as we've seen, deals with Belphegor rarely end well.
It's like they're sacrificing the journey for the destination, not realizing that the journey is often where the real growth and fulfillment lie.
You've hit the nail on the head. And this is where Belphegor's association with sloth comes into play. He doesn't just grant easy success. He fosters a mindset of laziness and procrastination, ensuring that those who invoke him, well, they become trapped in this cycle of unfulfilled potential.
So instead of becoming, successful inventors, they end up becoming slaves to their own desires, constantly chasing shortcuts, but never achieving true satisfaction.
Exactly. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of seeking instant gratification and the importance of embracing the process, even when it's challenging.
It's a powerful reminder that true success, whether it's in the realm of invention or any other field, it requires a combination of vision, hard work, and perseverance. And that sometimes the greatest rewards come from, overcoming obstacles and pushing through those tough times.
You've summed it up beautifully, and it brings us back to that idea of duality that we've been exploring throughout this deep dive. Belphegor embodies both the allure of easy success and the pitfalls of taking those shortcuts. He represents the temptation to bypass the journey and the ultimate emptiness that comes with achieving success without effort.
It's like he's holding up a mirror to our own desires, showing us both the seductive appeal and the ultimate consequences of giving into them.
Exactly. And by understanding Belphegor's role in the world of innovation, we can gain a deeper understanding of our own motivations and the choices we make when pursuing our goals. We can learn to appreciate the value of hard work, perseverance, and the satisfaction that comes from earning our successes.
This has been an incredibly eye-opening conversation. I feel like we've peeled back layer after layer of Belphegor's persona, revealing a depth and complexity that I never would have imagined.
It's always a pleasure to explore these hidden depths with you, and I'm sure our listeners are equally captivated by the insights we've uncovered. But before we wrap up part 2, I have one final thought to leave you with.
Hey, bring it on. I'm ready for another mind-bending revelation.
We've talked about Belphegor's connection to procrastination and laziness, but what if those tendencies, which we often view as negative, actually serve a purpose? What if they represent a form of resistance, a way of protecting ourselves from paths that aren't truly aligned with our authentic selves?
You're suggesting that procrastination and laziness, which we often see as personal failings, might actually be a form of self-preservation.
Precisely. Imagine this: you're feeling pressured to pursue a certain career path, but deep down it's not the right fit for you. So you start procrastinating, right? Dragging your feet, avoiding those necessary steps to move forward. What if that's your intuition trying to tell you something? What if it's Belphegor, in his own subversive way, nudging you to question your choices and explore those alternative paths?
That's a fascinating perspective. It's like he's saying, hey, if you're going to be lazy, at least be lazy about the things that don't truly matter to you. Save your energy for the things that light you up.
Exactly. He's highlighting the importance of aligning our actions with our values and our deepest desires.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means saying no to the things that everyone else expects of us, and embracing the things that truly resonate with our souls.
So instead of getting ourselves up for procrastinating, we should see it as an opportunity to pause, reflect, and ask ourselves, am I on the right path? Is this truly what I want?
Precisely. And that's a powerful question to ask ourselves. It can lead to profound insights and ultimately guide us toward a more fulfilling and authentic life.
This is such a mind-blowing concept. It's completely reframing my understanding of procrastination and laziness, and it makes me wonder what other seemingly negative aspects of Belphegor's lore could be interpreted in a more positive light. What other hidden gems might we uncover if we approach his story with an open mind and a willingness to see beyond the surface?
That's a wonderful question, and one that we can continue to explore in part 3 of our deep dive. We've only just scratched the surface of Belphegor's complex and intriguing nature. There's so much more to uncover, so many more insights to glean from this fascinating figure.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Belphegor. When we first started this, I thought I had a pretty good grasp on who Belphegor was, But after all this, I'm seeing him in a whole new light.
It really is amazing how these deep dives can challenge those preconceived notions, isn't it? We started with this image of, a demon tempting humanity with sloth and greed. Now we're seeing him as this potential catalyst for introspection, urging us to examine our motivations and align our actions with our true selves.
Yeah, it's like we've stumbled upon this hidden wisdom within the demonology itself. Who would have thought? And you left us last time with this fascinating idea that Belphegor's association with procrastination and laziness, well, it could actually be a form of self-preservation, right? Guiding us away from those paths that just aren't meant for us. It's something I've been pondering all week, actually.
It is a powerful concept, isn't it? It suggests that even those behaviors we consider, negative, they might serve a deeper purpose. Maybe Belphegor isn't always trying to lead us astray. Perhaps, in some cases, he's trying to redirect us, help us avoid those dead ends, and discover paths that lead to, genuine fulfillment.
It's like he's this cosmic traffic cop, holding up a stop sign at those intersections that would, lead us down the wrong road. But instead of giving us a ticket, he's handing us a map to a more scenic route.
I love that analogy. It really captures the essence of what we're discussing. It's about recognizing that even, demonic figures, they can have this complex role to play in our lives, and that sometimes their influence can be, surprisingly beneficial.
Speaking of surprising benefits, let's revisit Belphegor's connection to invention for a moment. We talked about how he tempts inventors with those, shortcuts and easy success, ultimately leading them down a path of procrastination and unfulfilled potential. But you also hinted at a more positive interpretation of this connection.
Right, there's another side to this coin. Remember how we discussed Belphegor as the master of the opening, that mastery of uncovering weaknesses? Well, it could also apply to identifying hidden potential, those sparks of creativity and innovation that lie dormant within us.
So instead of exploiting our weaknesses, he could potentially be revealing them to us, showing us where our true talents lie.
Precisely. It's like he's saying, hey, you have this incredible ability to create and innovate, but you're letting, fear, doubt, or laziness hold you back. Here's a glimpse of what you're capable of. Now go make it happen.
That's a powerful message. It's like he's a talent scout for the soul,
Yep.
pointing us toward our creative superpowers.
Exactly. And even though his methods might be a bit, unconventional, perhaps his ultimate goal is to inspire us, to embrace our creative potential and bring something, new and beautiful into the world.
So the same demon who tempts us with shortcuts might also be the one who ignites our passions and fuels our creativity. That's quite the paradox.
Paradoxes are Belphegor's specialty. He thrives in that space between opposites, challenging us to look beyond those, simplistic interpretations and embrace the complexity of existence.
And I have to say, it's been an exhilarating challenge. We've explored Belphegor's history, his powers, his motivations, and his potential impact on our lives. We've wrestled with his contradictions, uncovered hidden meanings, and emerged with a far richer understanding of this captivating demon.
It's been a true pleasure to embark on this journey of discovery with you, and I believe our listeners have gained some valuable insights that they can, apply to their own lives.
Absolutely. If there's one thing we've learned from this deep dive, it's that even the darkest corners of demonology can offer, unexpected wisdom and guidance. By approaching these figures with curiosity and an open mind, we can unlock hidden truths about ourselves and the world around us.
Beautifully said. And with that thought in mind, I encourage our listeners to continue exploring, to delve deeper into the realms of mythology, history, psychology. There's a vast and fascinating world out there just waiting to be discovered.
And who knows, maybe you'll even find yourself face to face with Belphegor himself one day. Just remember, he's a master of disguise and deception. So keep your wits about you, embrace the paradoxes, and trust your intuition. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, happy exploring.